Around the Ozarks is now on your FM radio. Listen to Around the Ozarks mornings with Grace Gooley as I spotlight local people, stories, and podcasts, all while playing the country legends of the 90s and the hit makers of the 2000s. It's on the Ozarks Best Country, 105.1 The Bull.
You're listening to The Real Deal Conversations, a podcast designed to encourage, inspire, and equip you by sharing real stories and meaningful conversations that bring real life to the surface. I'm your host, Megan Deal. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Ozark Veterinary Clinic. There is a myth that strong leaders cannot show emotion. There is also a fear, insecurity, hesitation for women to show emotion, especially if they are in a workplace where it's more male-dominated. Because if we show emotion, well, it might be that time of the month for her. Or if we show emotion, she's just dramatic. Oh, that's just a woman. And so there is this masking that can happen. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so how can you help women? Let's dismantle that. Let's talk about vulnerability. And when rooted in authenticity is one of the most powerful leadership tools we have. I'm going to let you know, my vulnerability, I feel stronger, and it's my cape. I believe it's one of my superpowers. Mm-hmm. And I had to get to that place. But I just want to share that with y'all. If you're struggling with vulnerability, it takes some time to trust but I believe it's one of my superpowers. Yeah. And so let's dismantle that. Let's talk about that.
I would completely agree with that. I think that, there are moments where we have to hold our own. I was in a difficult conversation one time, and I just made up my mind that I was not going to cry. Mm-hmm. Other times I've cried or gotten choked up often. Mm-hmm. And, if that's something that they want to poke holes at, I'm sorry for them because it's just part of the way that we're designed. And I would say if someone, minimizes that or makes fun of that, I would just have a long stare for them and go, did you really mean for that to sound passive aggressive? And just shut your mouth and let it sit there. They will get the message. Or if somebody's angry at you because you gave an honest answer to something, that's on them. It's on them.
Yeah.
And, I just feel like that relational aspect, it is a superpower. And let's look around in business and relationships and sales and all kinds of things that we do. There needs to be, I think when we're open about how we're feeling, that can go too far where you're just a mess all the time. But I think oftentimes I meet a lot of people at the college, and a lot of people support the college. And there's some stories about our incredible students that I get choked up. And it's okay. Because it just drives home the message of how heroic so many of our students are.
Yeah. And
what they've overcome.
Yeah.
And who they are.
Can you give a little bit of background about the students at C of O?
Sure. So College of the Ozarks was founded in 1906. Since our founding, we have provided the advantages of a Christian education for youth of both sexes, especially those found worthy but unable to afford such an education. So 90% of our students are admitted based on need, and all of them work 560 hours a semester at one of our over 100 workstations on our campus. So they run our 1,000 acres. And sometimes they have financial need because their parents are, missionaries or entrepreneurs or pastors or they've been living with their grandparents there's all kinds of reasons why. But their are some among our student body that I just admire so much for who they are, who they're becoming. And, as in most colleges, there are students there that they're changing their family tree. And it's so fun, and it's such an honor to watch that.
There was a girl, remind me of the student who I thought it was something like her dad didn't want her to go to college, and now she's a teacher. Because I want to say this because she had mentioned that some of these stories can get her choked up, and I want this one to be shared because I think it kind of encompasses College of the Ozarks and the mission. Yeah.
So Laura and Brad Johnson, our new president and first lady, they were on campus when he was interviewing. And one of the students who worked at the Keeter Center, so there's 400 students who work at the Keeter Center, she brought up their turned down cookies or brought something to their room. And they were asking her about where she was from. She was from a very small town in Missouri. And, how did you hear about the college? And she heard about it. And when she heard about it, she thought, that may be my way out. And so she knew that her father, he didn't agree with, for whatever reason, her going to college. And anyway, she secretly applied. She worked at a diner in her little town, and the owner of the diner let her get her mail there. And so she was admitted. She just graduated.
That's so cool.
She met a young man while she was there.
Yeah.
And they're both teachers now.
That's so cool. I love that. That's so cool.
Changed her family tree.
Yes. I love that.
It's so fun to watch.
Yes. That's such a good, she told me that before, and I was like, oh, she's got to share that. So the myth that strong leaders can't show emotion, I want to end it kind of on this because I want to share this. There was a male friend of mine who said, Megan, I don't want to share. Like, he goes, you just share things so well. Like, you just do it so well, and it's so encouraging. He's like, I don't want people to know, like, my mistakes. I don't want people to know my mess ups. Like, that's scary and hard, I said, but here's the deal. I said, I don't always feel like it, again, like I said earlier, sometimes it does feel naked. But I said, here's the deal. That one story that you have that shows your failure, that one story that shows your mistake, can be the one thing somebody needed to hear to show them that tomorrow was possible. And for me, being vulnerable and sometimes feeling like, oh, is that going to land, is totally worth it. Even if it's just one person. It doesn't need to reach 20, 100, 1,000. One person, I believe, in all of our mistakes and blunders and embarrassments, it could be the one thing that shows them, okay, if Megan can do that, if Sue Head can blunder in front of Newt Gingrich, I can do this.
Yeah.
If Sue can still be Sue Head in my eyes, knowing that she had a blunder, I can do this.
That was only that day.
Yeah. And so it's that, and that's what I would encourage everybody with your emotions, with your vulnerability. If just being real can help one person, it's worth it. Because what if that realness helped that one person, and that one person became the next, who knows?
Yeah.
That God, and that's all they needed. And God, I believe in that.
Yeah. I think it's so true what you're saying. I mean, first of all, there are walking wounded all around us. There are. Everybody's got wounds in their lives. And to pretend like we don't, and to curate everything to perfection, you're no longer approachable. Because nobody thinks they could attain that. I want to share a quick story with you that was shared this past Sunday with some guests at the Keeter Center. We have a young man from Ethiopia who's a student. And when he was growing up, his uncle murdered his father. And his mother had died.
Wow.
And his mother had, before she passed, sort of encouraged him or directed him to take revenge on the uncle.
Wow.
And so he he discovered there was another way.
Mm.
So his plan was to grow up
Yeah.
and to kill his uncle.
Wow.
And he discovered there was another way to handle that.
Wow.
He ended up coming to the college. He wants to go back and be in government in his country because he saw things that were happening that he thought weren't right.
Yeah.
And the whole time he was sharing his story, can you imagine a young boy feeling like that's his duty to kill someone? And thank goodness he discovered another way. So now he wants to, after he graduates, to eventually go back to his country and be in government so he can affect change.
Oh, that's so powerful.
It's so transformational.
That's so good.
It's so transformational.
And who
He's
in that room?
Remarkable young man.
Yes.
Remarkable.
And who in that room with his vulnerability? Because he could have went up there going, people are going to judge me. People are going to judge my
It's
story.
the first time he had told the story in public.
Oh, wow. See, even more so. But what if there was someone in that room who had been hurt and was just wanted revenge, maybe not even to the extent, but heard that and went, there's another way.
Yeah.
Okay, if that can happen to him and he can see another way to turn that hurt into positive passion and that's what I'm saying. Exactly that.
Yeah.
How many people did that affect in the room?
And imagine how effective he's going to be, because
so
I believe
That's so good.
he will do it.
Oh, yeah.
He will do it.
Oh, that's so good. I love that.
So fun.
So let's kind of go with showing emotion. Women, we can kind of lead into this. Many women can hesitate to brag about their work or even negotiate boldly for themselves. And so how can women communicate confidently their value and celebrate their wins without apology and without coming across as arrogant or self-centered or, how can we do that? How can we do that and not feel bad that we did it? Not walk away feeling like, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm going to miss an opportunity because I stood too boldly. How can we navigate that?
Well, that's a great question, and it can be a hard thing to share. Accomplishments that you've had. One of the things I find very interesting that wasn't around when, there was so much that wasn't around when I was first starting out, but one of the tools I think it's out there that might be one way to help in this situation is LinkedIn. Now, listen, Megan, I half the time think, what are these people doing that they can spend so much time on LinkedIn? Because I can't wrap my brain around it. But it is a good tool for communicating accomplishments because it allows you to list those things. And then I think it's also a source of information for jobs, salaries, skills, things that we may not even realize we've got a skill. When I see listings of people's skills in there, I find it very interesting. I think that it's sharing. We have a hard time doing it, and then we beat ourselves up because I realize you just shifted to the maybe I shouldn't have said that, maybe I shouldn't have been so bold. Look, if you are working for an organization that you want to help advance, hopefully, if we work, we're wanting to do that, and we have some skills that allow us to do that, then we shouldn't feel bad about saying, hey, you know what? One of the things I do at the college is I stage the large-scale events, which takes an army of people, by the way. But when I worked for Gary Smalley, I learned how to stage large events. Now, if it felt like bragging that I would go into that interview and not mention that, somebody else would be staging large-scale event.
Yeah.
So people can't read our minds.
Yeah.
I think really for me, the more it comes down to is how do you communicate that?
And how do we?
Yeah.
What are some do's and don'ts?
Yeah. Well, the look at me, I'm so great. I mean, nobody enjoys being around somebody that has that posture. Mm-hmm. I'm going to shift gears for just a second.
Sure.
I'm from Memphis. My mother is 94. Mm-hmm. The way I describe her to people is that she is a steel magnolia. Mm. My mom is beautiful and kind and smart and hardworking and giving and sweet, but she is oh so strong.
Yeah.
So it's wrapped up. Her strength comes through, not because she tells people or not because she is harsh. Mm-hmm. She's actually just the opposite. Mm. But she is lovely. Mm-hmm. And she is gracious. Mm. And she's hospitable. Mm. And she's a force. Mm. Mm-hmm. She's a force. Mm-hmm. And she's been such a great example to me. And I'm really thankful. And it's okay to say, we're not going to do things that way. Mm. Now, maybe early in my career, it would have been hard to do that. Mm-hmm. I think I've just been around long enough to just go, we're not doing that. Mm-hmm. Or that's not right. Mm-hmm. Or, making sure that we're doing things. I mean, and letting your word be impeccable is such an important part. But, back to about their work, it's okay to say, hey, I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but I actually had experience emceeing an event one time. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the easiest thing, but I'm much more comfortable doing it now because everybody else in the room might go, then will you please MC the event because we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
There's ways to put it out there and to be recognized for accomplishments or, things that we've been recognized for by outside parties but I think there's a way, I think it's in how you frame it. Mm-hmm. I think not to be a braggadocious type person, but just to say, gosh, I had this crazy opportunity to do this, that, and the other thing. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'd be glad to. Mm-hmm.
What would you say to someone who has been advocating for themselves, negotiating for them, negotiating, they've done it the right way. Mm-hmm. It's still not going in the direction they wanted. Mm-hmm. What would you say to them moving forward? How would you encourage them to move forward dealing with that? Dealing with, hey, I've done everything. I've gone above and beyond. Yeah. I've been humble about it. I've done everything by the book.
Yeah.
And I am getting overlooked. Mm-hmm. How would you encourage them?
Well, there's a couple things you can do. If it's someplace that you really do want to be, then I think finding a trusted person within the organization that would give you some feedback.
Okay.
Look, I'm sure I drive people crazy. And I don't even know it. And so it helps me to ask somebody, did I say that too strongly? Or did that come across in the way that we talked about this earlier, that we've done that before with each other. But, I feel like asking for that feedback, because maybe your approach is not what whoever the hiring party or whoever the person you're trying to get their thing, maybe learning more about how they. So when I worked for our former president, who was an 8 on the Enneagram, and he was a force, and he was an advocate for sort of the underdog, but he was super direct. So I learned, and I would say this to him, I'm so glad I wasn't 21 when I started working for him, because he was so direct. But later because I came to work for him later and I studied him.
Yes.
I learned about his story in his life, which was, he has a remarkable story. I learned about those things. And I remember one time a couple years ago before he retired, I walked in his office and he looked up at me and goes, "What do you want?" And I go, now doesn't seem like a really good time. Would you like for me to come back later? I know I never would have done that when I first got there.
Yeah.
But I worked for him for 18 years.
Sure.
I was like, now it doesn't seem like a good, it doesn't seem like a good time. But I would learn everything I could about, there's something about getting a better understanding of what motivates them, what they're looking for, what they value. There's value into asking someone on the team who you trust, what am I missing here? What's a better way do you think that I could approach this? Or should I just move on? And that's okay too. Because in those relationships we have with people all over the community, that networking, it can come back around to really help you.
Yeah.
When you just go, you know what? I just don't think this is working.
And I think too, because I've experienced where there was a job that I wanted. This is several years ago, and man, it would have been perfect, Sue. It would have been, I could get paid to serve people. I could get paid to love on people. I mean, it was what I did naturally, and it could pay the bills. And it just made perfect sense. But when I talked to the people in the interview, who I did know previous, it was you would have thought we were not even speaking the same language. And I was like, what on earth? Why is this, And then, so I ended up not getting the job. Another position had opened there about 2 years later, and they had approached me and said, "Hey, do you want to apply for this position?" Did the interview. Again, you would have thought we weren't speaking the same language. And I'm like, we know each other. We're friends. Like, this doesn't even make sense. And here's what I learned from that. Sometimes, I believe, God can just shut the door and it make no sense in the moment. And it's like, but we know each other. We're friends. This doesn't make any sense. And God is like, I have to take this from you. Because, we also see it in the Bible, where he takes things from people not to be vindictive, not to be, remember when everybody spoke the same language and God said, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good in the long term. They're going to, and he separated them and they all spoke a different language and God will take from us not to be vindictive, not to be mean-spirited, not to say, haha, but he can do that because he says, this won't be good for you. And not because what's not good for it, not because it was going to be a bad job, not because they were bad people, but because for our future, he says, no, Megan, no, I need you here. And so I believe, I look back and I think it got scrambled because God knew you guys know each other. This will move forward. I need this to be, because Megan, this is not where I want you.
What I love about that story, sorry that happened, but now you can see hindsight's 2020, isn't it? I in one position that I had, it was really difficult. It was just a really difficult environment. But I found my voice when I was there. So I went from being the people pleasing, overly sensitive person. It's like I was in a furnace is a little overly dramatic, but it was a crucible moment that it was super hard and I felt constantly misunderstood. And there were family members who worked in the organization. It was just a hard, family members of the owner. Anyway, but I found my voice while I was there. And I'm so grateful for that. So sometimes when it's really, really hard in a position, you learn how you're not going to treat people. You learn what you won't tolerate. And that's a good growth season.
Okay, I want to ask you. So you learned, you just said what you learned, you found your voice. Was it uncomfortable ever? Like when you shed that old part of you and grew into finding your voice and, was it uncomfortable? Did you ever feel like you wanted to put back on that old skin? Okay, so for me, let me give you an example. So one of the things that I've been working on growing in is being more firmer, is, standing my ground. And because I don't want anyone to feel bad.
Yeah.
I don't want,
Sure.
But it's also, I do that at the sacrifice of myself. And that's not okay. And that's where you need to find your voice and be firm.
Yeah.
And anyway, but then sometimes I'll be firm and I'll be like, oh, that was good. But then I'll be like, oh, what if I lose that part of me that is soft though and compassionate? And it's like that weird in between growth. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like you're in between growth stages, and I don't know if I'm wording that correctly.
It does. I hear what you're saying. So you're saying if you shift over to this, I found my voice, I feel so much stronger.
Uh-huh.
Do you think you could ever really lose the sweet side of yourself?
No.
Really? Okay.
I know.
All right.
But
So
it's like, I don't know.
But the more practice we get in, and I'm not saying beat the drum all the time about every single thing you see around.
Yeah.
But over time, to just, when you're in conversations, you learn how to, and you practice.
Yeah.
Just saying, I had an incident one time with the coworker years ago that I could tell something just annoyed him about what had happened in a meeting. So I went to his office afterwards and I said, hey, I noticed that you got very, very short when this was said. What's going on? Because I wanted to make sure if you make a mess, go and clean it up.
Sure.
Half the time I'm not even realize I've made a mess until somebody graciously tells me. So I just wanted to make sure it was all good. And it had nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. It's just that he spouted off, about something. But I think what it said is what I was trying to do is I've learned you teach people how to treat you. Mm. So if you tolerate someone making an offhand comment that's unkind towards you or about somebody else, to go, hey, you know what? Let's don't do that. Mm-hmm. You're teaching people how to treat you. Mm-hmm. So if you're constantly feeling like, they're ignoring you or they're dismissing you or whatever, then I think it's time to either get self-aware, find out what they're really looking for, or go, do I really want to be in this environment every day? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I might take all the lessons I've learned here about how to not treat people, and I'm going to take that with me to the next spot.
I've started telling myself, if me standing my ground and putting my boundaries up upsets someone, and this is what I remind myself, that's a them issue. That's not a me issue.
Yeah.
If they're upset that I put a boundary up, I'm not carrying that weight. And then again, I have to remind myself, this is a blip. This is a small moment in a bigger picture. Do not give it energy. Do not give it room to breathe. And that's what I have to do. It takes practice for me. Just to let you know. It takes practice.
Absolutely. It takes practice for all of us. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a pleaser, relational person. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
And there's a way you can do it that's kind but firm, and there's a way you can do it where you're a jerk.
Yeah.
So let's don't do that.
Yeah.
It just takes practice. But once you do it, it's kind of like speaking in public. Mm-hmm. The first time I ever had to speak in public to a crowd was actually the Keeter Center had just opened, and all the staff came up for a staff lunch in the Silver Dollar City Parlor, which is lovely. But at the time, the acoustics were just way off. We've remedied the situation. But anyway, the electronics guy came, put up 2 tall speakers, handed me a microphone, and walked out the door. So I'm giving the speech. I had rehearsed for Hayden like 5 times. I'm reading it, and I noticed that plates are clattering, and I looked over and people weren't really paying attention. And when I sat down, the president leaned over and said, we couldn't understand one word you said. We couldn't hear one word you said. I was like, oh, great. And the next time I had to speak in public, it was in front of 3,600 people.
Yeah.
Coach K from Duke University was there on campus, and I was introducing, welcoming that evening. And the more you do it, and I know that it's hard to do, but when you do hard things, you become more confident.
Yes. Yes. And yes, because you see that you're capable.
Absolutely.
Yes. I agree with you.
Absolutely. Here's one more thing I want to say about the people that might say things that are not nice.
Mm-hmm.
I tell the parents at School of the Ozarks when I speak to them, and to the parents at College of the Ozarks, to struggle is good. Let them. They're children. And so that becomes our sort of mantra that we say, to struggle is good. Let them. Because it's funny, people say, oh, I had this teacher in high school that just changed my life. He was a real taskmaster, or she was very high standards, or it was the people who put the bar high that we remember and who changed us. The ones that held our hands and told you don't really need to do that. They didn't change our lives. And so anyway, I'm wearing today a necklace one of the teachers at School of the Ozarks gave me that just says, let them.
Yeah.
Because she said, as a teacher, I have to watch my second graders struggle, but they get it.
Yeah.
They get it.
Yeah.
So let them.
Yeah.
Or the other thing, Mel Robbins' podcast, she talks about this a lot. We get so torqued about decisions other people make, or what they're wearing, or what kind of car they're driving, or whatever. Let them.
Yeah.
Let them.
Yeah.
It's not your job.
Yeah.
Not your job.
Yeah.
Just let them.
That's good. That is good. That's one of those things I'm pausing to kind of reflect on that for a little bit, because it is so true. It is not my worry. It is not my burden to bear. It is not your burden to bear. It is not your worry. It is so true. Just let them. And that's such a short and simple thing to remember. Let them. Let them. Okay.
I'm not talking about your parenting your own children. I'm just talking about things that are not in our circle.
Oh,
that we don't need to control.
I do. I have to do that with my kids, though, is let them sometimes, because I want to take everything. I want to save them from everything.
Oh, yeah.
And and I can't. And my husband is so good at, he played sports. And so he's like, Megan, I can get chewing because I got chewed out all the time in athletics, And so he's just, he's a lot better than I am of not coming to their rescue all the time. And I'm so thankful for that.
Well, that's just how they get stronger. Or I used to, my son struggled in high school, and when he was just out of college, that's a whole nother thing we could spend a lot of time talking about. But anyway, he turned out to be a really great person. But I used to say to him, we were sitting in the principal's office, and I just turned to him and said, how's that working for you?
Yeah.
Whatever the latest antic he had done. I was like, how's that working for you?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't. It wasn't, the solution to the problem has to reside in the person's skin who has the problem. Because as soon as you make your child's problem your problem, it's no longer their problem. So they get to an age where it needs to reside in their skin.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about that test paper? What are you going to do about that teacher who's upset with you? Yeah. What are you going to do to make up with your friend?
Yeah.
Because if I take it over and make it my problem, that's not their problem anymore.
And they're not going to get problem-solving skills.
No.
And develop.
No, and they're going to need to come with you. They're going to need you to come with them to a job interview.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. Okay, let's, we're going to kind of move through some of these, but I do want to hit on this. We're often taught to be liked over being respected. So leadership rooted in external approval, it's, it's a tough one. This is a tough one, especially for somebody who is a people pleaser and relational. You want everybody, it can be challenging to navigate. So what encouragement would you speak to people who are struggling with wanting to be liked over doing what needs to be done?
Well, COVID-19 gave me a great opportunity to practice that muscle. Because I'm a natural connector. Yeah. And I like people and I want them to be happy.
Yes.
So imagine what it's like to have close to 1,500 college students and 280 School of the Ozarks students and add their parents into that mix. When you tell them for this period of time, you can't leave campus. So we were College of the Ozarks was part of the 3% of colleges and universities who stayed seated. We had a brief go-home period at the end of that April to March to May. But we came back in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
People lost their minds. Understandably. Understandably. But I'm telling you, it was something.
Yeah.
So I had to switch from kind of the connector mode to the guardian mode because I knew that if we had to shut down again, that we were going to have to lay people off.
Sure.
And I also knew statistically, when you've got, when including employees, 2,000 people a day on your campus, there's a good chance somebody could perish. Okay, you don't want to say those two things to anybody, but I knew those two things. So when parents were, upset, again, understandably, I just had to be, this is the policy. I'm so sorry. I know that's hard to understand, but we have to keep our campus safe.
Yeah.
And, X, Y, and Z. Like we all had these experiences that you were like, really? For real? Like we really have to?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We do. Because we didn't know. And so that was a really difficult, I felt like my arm was in a sling a lot during that time. Because, but it was.
I was just about to ask, was there an inner wrestle with that? Like your default setting being a connector, being relational, your default setting being just somebody who's kind, and then having to move from your default settings to, no, this is the policy.
Right.
Was there an inner wrestle with that? And
well,
how did you navigate
really,
that?
Because in those two things, what I knew is if COVID got out of control and they had to shut us down, someone in our college family was going to get laid off.
Yeah.
Some people were.
Yeah.
And I also knew if it spread like wildfire, there was a chance that somebody could die from COVID. Gratefully, neither of those things happened. But that's what I knew. So that outweighed the wanting to be like, did it feel good? No. Did people go, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's what the policy is. So it was a forced, it made me have to hold the line because part of leadership is forecasting. So when we forecast, if we just let everything be willy-nilly and this gets rampant here, that an outside entity could shut us down. We couldn't take that risk. And we didn't want anybody to get it or take it home to their elderly it's just all those things. So that was very challenging for me, but the stakes were so high that I really didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Had to.
Yeah.
Did it feel good? No.
Yeah.
No, it didn't feel good. But I think, sometimes we have to, being liked and respected are different things. Being liked is just saying yes to everything and not rocking the boat.
Yeah.
As a parent, we're not always liked by our kids. But we have to do the right thing when we're preventing them from running out in the street or touching a hot stove or all the things.
Yeah.
We're not liked.
Yeah. That I want to share something that happened to me just to encourage you who are listening. I had ran for school board a few years ago, and that was my moment of shedding. Okay, I'm not. I mean, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There was so much growth.
Running for any office. Wow.
It's a whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So there were people who wanted me to say certain things to appease their comfort, I believe. And I refused because, and that was, to me in that moment, I was not willing to say what they wanted me to say because I knew that we need to speak for all students and teachers. not one group of people. And I was not willing to budge. And I'm telling you, I could have easily said one thing to make it all go away and appease them. But in my mind, I was like, that's not the purpose here. That's not the end goal here. The end goal is to be here for all students and all teachers and what is best for them. And so I learned, and I say all this to say, it was so uncomfortable. And in the public, you wouldn't have even known. You wouldn't have even known it bothered me, Sue, because I didn't make posts about it. I never spoke against it. I just acted like it didn't even exist. But behind the scenes, it hurt. It was like what you're saying. My arm was in a sling for a little bit behind the scenes. I was like, gosh, dang, the growth that happened in that time and the growth that came, it's indescribable, really. And I'm like, man, that was hard, but I would not take it back for the growth that I gained.
Yeah, absolutely.
And uncomfortable.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I also want to encourage you guys in that too. When your back is against the wall and somebody is wanting you to do something to appease them, and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to be disliked, and it could easily be answered this way. You stand your ground. And I want to encourage you that if you're in the middle of that and you're in the middle of standing your ground and you're like, oh, this could all go away if I would just say this one thing, but in your heart of hearts that that's not the end goal and that's not what needs to be said. I want to encourage you. It is worth it to stand your ground. And the growth that's going to come after it, you're going to be so proud of yourself.
Yeah.
So hold the line there.
Yeah. Well, I think in what we see in social media these days, I'm astonished. Somebody could put something innocuous on or positive, and I just think, what in the world when people get nasty? But what it tells me is, recently I heard a thing that, when somebody comes at you, they've just told you everything you need to know about them.
It's so true. Yep.
They, behavior is a language.
Yes. And I think too, as somebody, I'm saying this as somebody who wants to be liked, okay? But, and this goes back to what I said earlier, God has a plan over our lives that is so long-term. It is so bigger picture. And doing something in the moment to feel good and to feel liked and to appease that sacrifices what God has for you in the long term and what God has placed on your heart without a shadow of a doubt, it is never worth sacrificing the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I really want to you guys to hold on to that. Do not sacrifice God's bigger plan over your life for a moment of good feeling. And it's uncomfortable. Again, I'm telling you, as somebody who is a people pleaser and doesn't like not being liked, it is uncomfortable and there's a wrestle there. But I'm telling you, it's so worth it. It's so worth it to not sacrifice your character and integrity and the foundation of your faith and everything that God is telling you to do in that moment. So,
yeah.
Okay, let's kind of wrap up a little bit. So, faith and inner strength. So, let's kind of dive into spiritual resilience and how that can equip women to lead through conflict, criticism, and uncertainty. I love, whenever I do public speaking, everything I pull is from real life stories in the Bible and Moses, I love Moses. Man, Moses faced so much, but how God's hand was in it and his reactions, they're so real, they're so raw. And so a lot of times I go to those stories in the Bible and I say, okay, how did they handle this? What was God's response? What did God tell them? So, Sue, spiritual resilience, equipping women, how can faith play a huge role?
Well, in the end, this is what I believe, when we're living our faith, and I do this wrong every day, so I'm not saying I do it right all the time, but in the end, I strive to think about, what does God think of me and what I'm doing ahead of what other people might think. Because in the end, for me, that's the most important thing. So it's a good check on what I'm, upset about or sad about or hurt by. And I think that inner strength, my in-laws were remarkable people, the people that owned Camp Soaring Hawk that eventually became Camp Barnabas. Just so grateful for them and for my own parents' influence. But my mother-in-law lived with us the last probably year and a half of her life. And we had some nursing students live with us. We were living on campus at the time, and we had a grand time. She was probably 95 at the time that she passed. When she was on hospice, she was really a remarkable person, and her attitude was astonishing. My husband came in and was sitting with her, and it was on the day that she passed, and he was talking to her, and he was holding her hand and just saying, Mom, it's okay, and I love you. And she opened her eyes and looked at him, and she put her thumb up and said, "It's going to be great. It's going to be great."
Yeah.
That was the last thing she said on earth.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And I just think that was her faith in action.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And what a testimony to how her faith guided her life.
Yeah.
And I think that faith, that strength, because look, life's going to be, it's going to be hard. Yeah. It's going to be. And how are we going to respond? And I think, bad things happen. And sometimes we can be angry at the Lord. And I believe He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. And it's a normal feeling to, if we're really honest.
Sure.
And I think even in navigating, sometimes when I see someone who's very angry or mean-spirited, instead of thinking, what were you thinking doing, spouting off like that? Or what were you thinking being so nasty to that other person? I learned somewhere that the question could be, what happened to you? That you would think that would be okay. What happened to you?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about that when I see on the news someone who's committed murder. Someone changed a lot of diapers and fed you, and what happened? That you would resort to that. It just makes me wonder. It's sometimes adopting a posture of curiosity is helpful when somebody's being mean, or it's back to when we know what our core fears are. This is how you know what your core fears are. When your button, that's your core fear, gets pushed, your response is disproportionate to what just happened. So I'll give you an example. One time when Hayden and I were, pretty newly married, he said, we need to do something about this living room because it was messy. And the only thing my ear heard was, you're a poor housekeeper. And I just overreacted to the whole thing. And I just remember thinking, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And that is, that is actually true. As you say that, there are some things, I think there's so much, when you say certain things, there's so much similarity in you and I, and I go, oh no, yes. And with core fears and again, it goes back to our default settings. And just because it's our default setting doesn't mean it has to be. Just because it is doesn't mean it has to be. And we can find, like you said earlier, we can find another way. And I think really that just summarizes everything, is perspective and the inner work and looking inside and going, why did I respond that way? Why did that happen?
Yeah.
What is the root cause of that? And then when we keep curiosity, what you just said before that example, it's the curiosity. And it's not just being curious with others, it's being curious with ourselves. And I think if we can be curious with ourselves first, I think we're able to give way more grace.
Oh, absolutely.
Outside.
Yes.
And be curious. One of the things you said, what happened, I was in Branson. I was driving in Branson, and there was some people on the side of the road. And I thought for a minute, I was sitting at the stoplight, and I thought, those were innocent children at one time. Those were innocent kids at one time.
Yeah.
And you are right. What happened that an innocent child shifted so far one way?
Yeah.
And I think that curiosity is laid in, I think there's compassion in that. And it's something happened that they had no control over. Now, do they have control over the decisions and the way? Yes. But there's still compassion there.
Yeah.
And the curiosity. So I want to kind of wrap us up with exploring, investing in the next generation of women leaders. So what would you say to the next generation of women leaders, of female leadership? Encouraging them. What encouragement do you want to, what, if anything, Sue, that comes to mind, and you're like, if I have one thing I could say to this next generation of women, it would be.
Well, thank you for asking that question, because there are some things I would just love the opportunity to say to the younger version of ourselves. I think that this, the physical stone that was erected by Samuel to communicate God's victory over the Philistines, it's called an Ebenezer stone. And I do a talk at the college for new students and have a stack of those, of stones that I talk about each one. And what I love about that story is we all have woundedness in our lives. We all do, if we're really honest. And I love that some of those things in my life have become Ebenezer stones that I can look back over my shoulder now. It's so much more clear now. And those things that were the hard, that I didn't think I'd be able to breathe after losing my brother. Or my sister's fiance committing suicide and she and I found him. Or having an eating disorder, or, name it. We all have things in our lives. But the Ebenezer stone served as a visual reminder for people to look there and remember, oh yeah, when I was in that struggle, when I was in that battle, he was there. So that's a comfort to me. I think that going from striving to mentoring and be looking for people who have gone before you. The other thing I thought about is we spend a lot of time curating our homes, our cars, our clothes. I'm in it too. And when I'm really honest, I don't think Jesus did curating. He wasn't worried about how long his robes were, or what kind of leather was used for his shoes, or he just cared about how he loved people. Yes. That's the part that was the most important thing.
Yes.
Is, are we loving other people well?
Yes.
Are we allowing them to not be perfect? Are we forgetting when they wrong us?
Yeah.
Those are important things to think about. I think that it's important to be who you say you are. That peace is a beautiful thing. And when you're trying to make a decision, in your life that feels monumental, be looking for that peace.
Yeah.
I tell my children all the time, they're young adults, they're making decisions. I remind them, peace is a beautiful thing. And behavior is a language. What people do will tell you everything they're really saying. Behavior is a language.
That's so good.
And I think that someone who has mentored me in the Branson area, his name is John Baltus, and he was the longtime general manager at Silverdar City, and then he was over the Silverdar City Foundation. And when I got into my role at the college, when I became a vice president, I quickly called him and I said, "Hey, John, I just got this promotion, and I've never managed 50 people. In fact, if I'm really honest, I've only kind of managed me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I've got a team, and I don't know what I'm doing." Remember, my core fear is failure.
Yeah.
So I felt panicked. Yeah. And he said, "Your job is to help your team be successful. That is your job. Meet with them weekly in their office. Be very clear on what you want them to do, on your expectations, and then inspect what you expect and give feedback in a timely manner." Those three things, especially, that my job is to help my team be successful, changed everything for me.
That is so good.
That was golden.
That is, yes. That is so good.
Yeah. Being the leader doesn't mean that you're the president and CEO. Being the leader can be around your own dinner table.
Absolutely.
It could be on your team. It can be anywhere, because leadership is influence.
That's so good.
And I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I'm so proud of the women in Southwest Missouri. There's some incredible women in this area who are making a difference in people's lives, and you're one of those.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks for this opportunity. Don't do it all right. Made plenty of mistakes. Just tried to clean them up as I go.
Yes. Thank you for coming on.
You're so welcome. Thanks for the opportunity.
I'm going to wrap up these tears right now. Anyway, okay. Sue, thank you so much.
Thank you.